Hi guys, so for this project, I was working with the Environmental Protection Agency. With them, the Environmental Protection Agency, I'll just go ahead and go through the whole thing for you guys. The Environmental Protection Agency is an agency of the United States federal government whose mission is to protect human and environmental health. So basically, they're responsible for creating standards and laws promoting the health of humans and the environment. So with that, I decided to choose Generation X males as our target audience. I got there through a couple different ways of market segmentation. So I started off by asking the questions: who's the most who's the most interested in outdoors, protecting the environment, and interested in the conversation surrounding what the EPA does. And with that, I kind of stumbled upon like a couple of different articles that pointed to baby boomers and Generation X, but also males was like the common denominator between those two. So then from there, I went a little bit deeper and I was like, okay, but who's participating more online? Who likes more traditional forms of media? Because that's what EPA is currently working with. And how is this going to relate to them the best? So with that, I found that Pew Research put out a study saying that 91% of Generation X males use the internet on a daily basis. And then Forbes magazine says 81% of Generation Xers have Facebook accounts, but they also engage with online personas less for self-centered promotion and more for keeping track of the world, which I think is very beneficial to the EPA considering they're a federal agency and they put out a lot of press releases and news releases about the things that they're doing because they are responsible for writing a lot of regulations when it comes to our environment. Next, I found that 51% of males ages 45 to 54, which is in our Generation X sweet spot, care more about traditional forms of content. So that just kind of solidifies the previous statement that I made. But what's also interesting, I found on I think it was HubSpot. I don't take my word on that. Actually, yes. That younger audience, such as I don't know why I just stumbled. I'm so sorry. Such as millennials is going to be better for Instagram, which I think it's okay to kind of deviate away from Generation X to millennials on Instagram because Instagram speaks to millennials a lot better than Facebook or the traditional more forms of feed media. So we'll be doing that for the Instagram account. The objectives of this campaign is to establish visual identity standards for the Environmental Protection Agency. For that, it looked like me implementing a brand persona. So that one's going to be like their brand persona itself is going to be a little bit more on the formal side, and it's going to follow a lot of what the BLM is already doing since they're sister agencies. And I'll talk about a little bit more on that on the assets page. And the next one is to create a marketing campaign with a central message and identity that's clear messaging that can be versatile among all of the EPA's social platforms. So when it comes to the persona of the EPA, it's crucial that they communicate in a way that's effective and remains unbiased, keeping the feeds neutral in content and focusing on the general conversation around that. The EPA so with the guide that I created, it shows the color palette they should stick to for the brand, the fonts that they should stick to, the vernacular, their punctuation, and components that set a tone of the brand. Following that, another thing that I wanted to see them include in their persona is rather than being a top-down diffusion company, I wanted them to convert more to a lateral horizontal marketing practice where they're proactive and engaging and replying and building community on their feeds, not only on Instagram, but on their Facebook, on their Twitter, and maybe even developing a forum on their webpage as an extension sector. So that's something I would love to see them to do. That's just a best practice overall, especially in our society where we want to create brand loyal affiliates rather than just people that we're throwing our information at like a fire hydrant. So that's something that I want to see. That's one of the needs of the company. That's something that I would love. Like if I were actually working with them, that's something that I would try to track through data analysis. Maybe I would have a CRM. I don't know how that works with the government, but a CRM that kind of tracks like the way that consumers responding, the way that we're engaging with them and the community that's being built. And I would love to see that increase definitely by 100% within a year. I don't know how feasible that is. So I would say like if I were writing an actual objective, I would say maybe like 30%. But that's something that the EPA could definitely improve on. So the assets of this campaign, to create a brand guide, a content calendar, and a couple of mock posts. So with that, I did a few case studies. It was like, what are other companies that are for sustainability doing online? How could we not only not mimic them, but join in the conversation that they already have going on? I'm sorry, this is running a bit long, so I'm going to try to wrap it up here in the next 2 seconds. So I looked at Unilever, Patagonia, and My Public Lands, the account for My Public Lands, which is the Bureau of Land Management's account. And I ultimately decided that we should. So the EPA obviously could improve their Instagram by changing dimensions of their photo, the caption tone, and rewording the caption. But I think that they should kind of follow the. I don't know why I'm struggling right now. The setup of what the Bureau of Land Management already has. The Bureau of Land Management is this big umbrella company that covers a couple of different sectors. So, like, they cover fire and aviation safety, they cover border patrol, land preservation, and a couple other different things. And it's kind of how the EPA is. So I think that that's something they should feature weekly or even monthly on their account, where they focus on, this is what we're doing as far as carbon neutral goes, or this is what we're doing as far as clearing our waterways. So that's something that I wrote into our campaign. The next thing that I wrote into the campaign is keeping best practices on their social media. So right now they're posting like maybe once or twice a week, once every 2 weeks. Like, they're very inconsistent in the pattern in which they're posting, but they are active on their feed. So I think that's something that could go to once a day making a post. Maybe that could be a story, or that could be an actual post itself. Also, in the entire time that I've followed them in the 8 weeks that we've been in this class, they have not posted a story once on Instagram. Their Facebook, they are a little bit more active in posting on it, but I want to move that up to 2 times a day, and I want to increase their interactivity with their audience a little bit more. So overall, I really enjoyed doing this project. I loved everything that I learned about the EPA and just furthering my experience with best practices on social media and webs, and just kind of identifying unknown needs of the consumer through just like extensive research from an outsider's perspective. This would be something that would be really fun to do if I had a little bit more information with data analysis or just from a CRM itself. This summer I actually worked a job where I did internal marketing, and that's something that I had access to, and I really enjoyed watching the numbers like fluctuate based on the content that we were putting out so that we could record it. Yeah, so to answer the last question, the summary, I won't be continuing working with the EPA at the end of the semester. Obviously, I never had a position with them. However, I do want to continue to pursue a job in public affairs or to be a PIO or something along those lines. I would love to work more in the government realm of public relations, less in the social media realm of public relation or of strategic communications. But I'm very grateful for everything that I have learned in this class. So thank you for that.